So this is a quick follow-up to NASA Disclosure Day. I wanted to read out just a few of the comments that I'd got into some of the feed. It won't be a very long video, but I managed to slip in some questions that hopefully I'll get some decent answers to, and I'll do another video once I did. Just to give you a brief bit of background on how this started, on NASA Disclosure Day I opened up several feeds with what I thought were reasonable questions, some of which were left as sort of tongue-in-cheek questions that I already knew the answer to, just so the feed would get going. This one being one of those, an example of one of those. So I asked the question, "Hi NASA, why do the composite images of Pluto the dwarf planet look like they have Disney's Pluto the dog embedded into the surface of the dwarf planet?" And then you get the usual answers, pareidolia, etc., etc. And lots of people asking about composites. At some stage they explain that our eyes are only composites making up 8 images or something along those lines. Later on in the feed, so once the feed's definitely not going to get erased, I ask, why do NASA have NVIDIA, a graphics card designer, telling us the moon landings are real? Why don't they just send a non-white, non-male to the moon? We were told we would have day trips there by now. So, are we off to Mars with another rover to discover water again? Why not spend half as much sending a black woman to the moon? Or is everybody in the USA white and male? I then give a response to somebody else asking something about gravity, which doesn't go anywhere, but I may as well read it just so you can see that I've posed the question. It's phrased in reply, but so in the scientific model, sorry, I'll start again. So the scientific model is the answer, but dechant. Let's talk about gravity. Perhaps we have some proof. All nice and scientific? Perhaps you could talk me through the Cavendish Experiment. Please educate me. It all seems a bit crude to me. Perhaps I'm not using Wikipedia correctly. So the lead balls are suspended on a torsion bar, and this can weigh any object in the universe. Wow. Is that correct? As it sounds like nonsense to me, but please explain the science of gravity, as it all seems like a very beautiful equation that balances with all of the observable. What goes up must come down. But the way it came to be just all seems like tripe. Maybe I'm just too poor or too poorly educated to understand it all. Please expand my mind. That actually reminds me where this started off. Earlier on in the feed, I sort of asked about why we hadn't been back and why we couldn't see things, and the explanation was, well, we can send you if you've got $30 million or something crazy. So that was my reference to, obviously, I'm being too poor, but there we go. Then we get a response from Albert Cofrin. My increment supervisor is a black woman. What does your comment have to do with NASA Post? NASA never said that we would be making constant trips to the moon. Not sure where you get that from. You have graphic designers develop our presentations and videos for education. Have no idea what your rant is about. And then I say, has she been to the moon? Or is it still just white men who have been there? Do white men represent all of mankind? At the moment, the moon is a club. The club has members who are exclusively white males. This is a disgrace. So, and I go on. So, sending more rovers to Mars for billions of dollars is the way to go, in spite your racist, sexist moon landings. Maybe NASA will discover water on Mars again. Surely sending a black woman to the moon would be cheaper than going to Mars. Do black women not pay taxes that go to NASA? They are excluded from the Moon Club. And then Albert replies, your questions have no meaning. They are non sequiturs, therefore cannot logically be answered. Do you have an intelligent, non-racist question to ask? So I'll see if I can zoom this up. You may not be able to see it from there. Maybe not. I'll just read it. Sure, please can you explain how Apollo got through the 2000 degrees C plus plasma layer above us in 1969 to get to the moon in what NVIDIA describe as a quote-unquote Coke can covered in gold foil. So, to clarify, how did NASA get through something MIT describe as a quote-unquote hard and fast layer? Please explain how NASA got through this plasma. Thanks in advance, Albert Cofrin. Please can I have a logical answer? Smiley face. My question was not racist! Exclamation mark. I will ask it again. When will NASA send a non-white, non-male to the moon? If the answer is never, feel free to say so. unless you still feel my pertinent question is a non sequitur. I also note that you have not answered it. So I'm hoping I'll get some responses to that epic rant. Probably not. Anyway, I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you in the next one.